Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining me this afternoon, everyone. The court feed should be up in about 6 or 7 minutes. I'm sorry I'm a little late, but I do have a rescue dog who sometimes decides that he's the boss. He's very small. And well, it's very, very windy today. And he decided that like circling leaves in the yard was his new favorite toy. He didn't want to come in. He didn't want to come in at all. Well, it's nice to see everybody. Thank you for joining me. Hello, Liam, Wanda, PNW wife, everyone. Just Sandra, just Rhonda, Charlie, Katie. Oh, Charlie. Oh, I've been saying, right? Listening to Alex Cox's former wife's interview with the detective. Holy cow. I hear you. I hear you on that one because that's why I posted it. I believe her name was Debbie. And boy, was there some information there. I did not know all of that about Joseph Ryan. That was quite the eye opener, wasn't it? Like, wow. Very, very crazy stuff. Apparently, Alex has a history of defending his sister against almost all of her husbands for whatever reason. Lori decides to move on, and Alex just takes care of everything somehow. Hey, Couch, how you doing? How you doing? Yeah. So it is good to see everybody. Sorry about the binking going on. Apparently, there's something going on in the Discord, and I forgot to mute the Discord. Okay. Okay. Hey, Jen. Welcome, 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 everybody coming in. So today we still have 3 witnesses left on the state's witness list. I do believe that Detective Duncan has been seen in the courtroom, according to reporting that's going on the socials and everywhere. And he is the one who was ill yesterday and was scheduled to testify yesterday, but was sent home. So I do believe we're going to hear from him. And then we also still have Jason Hunsaker and Detective Nathan Moffat, who we've heard his name throughout the testimony from others, especially Lori. She likes to ask, like, who was there. She's making a hit list, I think, for her casting sessions at the prison. Because, a lot of the witnesses, especially law enforcement, she's like, wants to know who they were talking to, who they were with, who ordered what, who did what. And yet, for the jury, I don't know what that matters because she never follows it up with anything that leads to anything. So, it's a little curious for me. Her questioning style has me baffled, actually. Completely baffled. I think what I'm going to do, you can still hear me, is put the feed up so we don't miss it at all as soon as they go live, because you know how we'll hear the voices, but you can still see me in the corner. Thanks for the orders there, Shell. Appreciate it very much. Yeah. Okay. If you're tired, rest up, Shill. No need. Liam's here. We haven't, and Jin's here. We haven't had any trouble in the chats. Like it's kind of like it's kind of easy mod duty lately. Oh, PNW wife. I always get this wrong. I do. My friend. Sorry. I'm having coffee myself, Liam. This is my second cup. I've just I need more coffee today. I don't know why. I'm just starting out slower today. I think because it's Wednesday. It's like the middle of the week. They call that hump day. It's like the day you got to get over to get to the weekend. Hey, thank you for being over in the Twitchville over there, Rocket Couch. I appreciate it. And thank you for the work that you did on the bingo cards. It's looking good. The explanations help everyone. The bingo cards really start from like our history through different trials where funny things have happened, like in Amber Heard with the stepping on the bee for the over dramatic crying on the stand, and Alex Murdaugh stole everything in his case. Like it was like Alex stole it. He stole from everybody. So it was like Alex stole the question. Alex stole the witness. Alex stole the evidence. I mean, everything. And then there was Bubba. Bubba was also from the Alex Murdaugh trial, but there's plenty of references that go to actually individual trials. And there's one here. There's one now on this bingo list here. There's a new one right in the middle of mine. It says, "Are you sure you want to do that?" And that's a direct quote from Judge Beressky to Lori Vallow Daybell. Are you sure you want to do that? Sidebar. You sure you want to ask that question? Yep. Exactly. Oh gosh. Yeah, I'll say. And the Lori's lawyer. We had so many times where we've get the objections, the objectathon, too many objections. We had that in Boone too. We got another one called Petty Vallow. That's going to be anytime they just like the lawyers or the witnesses just start acting petty. We're going to keep that one, huh, Couch? I like that. We'll call it a Petty Vallow. It's like there's going to be a lot of that. There's going to be a lot of Petty Vallow going on in the Karen Reed case, because I was listening to the hearing also, not to get off track from this hearing, but I was listening to the hearing today, and I have to say her lawyers are still like they don't learn. They don't learn at all. Like we're still going round and round and round about the arc of witnesses in this just ridiculous. I don't know how Alan Jackson could stand there and say, "Well, we just hired them March 28th of 2025. Like, we need time." Yo, dude, like we saw the check from last time. From like, why aren't you giving the discovery from the last time even? Since you have all of that, where's the outline they talked about in the emails? Turn it over. Just turn it over. Like, just being ridiculous. Absolutely being ridiculous. But I am looking forward to today. I think the lead investigator. I think Nathan Moffat has a lot to add to this case. I think yesterday's witnesses really honed in on the timeline, proving that Lori can't be in two places at once, and her story is just not matching. And this is why they started the investigation. It just things were not gelling. It looks like we're coming in. Oh, they're going to show Lori. Oh, fancy hair today with the ponytail up on top. Trying to outdo the paralegal. What do you say, Liam? I don't really think.
All right, it's 10:30 a.m. Time set for trial in State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell, CR 2021-001704. The parties are present, jury's not present. Are we ready to bring in the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense ready to bring in the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, go ahead.
Did you guys hear that she just had to be prompted by somebody at the table to respond to the judge? Oh, it's going to be distraction, Lori, today. Okay, it's going to be distraction, Lori, today. So here we go. So they're bringing in the jury. We're going to get right out of the box. We'll see who our first witness is going to be. I'm thinking it'll be Detective Duncan, since he was not able to testify yesterday. Well, we were discussing the great evidence yesterday. I have to say that Ariel Werther, not only does he a fine dresser, I did get a comment on my video that said, like, Detective Werther looked like he stopped in to testify on the way to a wedding. I will say he was dressed fine. He did a great job. But he's also the same detective that laid this all out in Idaho and did the same type of presentation to join all the phone calls together for the conspiracy. And they got a win in Idaho.
All right, please be seated. The jury is present. The state may call its next witness.
The state will call Detective Nate Duncan.
Okay.
All right, sir, go ahead and stand up here and be sworn in.
And you're about to be able to keep the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but so help you God.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Good morning. My name is Nathan Duncan. I'm a detective with the Chandler Police Department Robbery Homicide Unit.
How long have you worked for Chandler Police Department?
Well, I'm 2 months shy of 25 years.
Can you tell us the different areas you have worked?
After graduating from the academy in September of 2000, I went into the patrol unit, as a patrol unit, for about three and a half years. I then left there and became a detective, working for approximately the next 11 years in our property crime section. And in the last 10 plus years, have been working in the robbery homicide unit.
In your career, have you been asked to write search warrants to obtain and review cell phone records?
I have.
In your career, have you been asked to write and obtain search warrants for iCloud records?
Yes, I have.
And in your career, have you been asked to basically write search warrants for all different types of social media and digital media?
Yes.
On July 11th of 2019, were you working that day?
I was.
And what were your hours at that time?
During that time, so weekdays, days, and I believe at the time I was on a Tuesday through Friday schedule, 10-hour shifts.
So on Thursday, July 11th of 2019, did you learn of a shooting at 5531 South Four Peaks Place in Chandler?
I did.
How did you learn about it?
I actually had learned by listening to the radio, or heard the call kick out and of the shooting at the Four Peaks location. And then soon after that, received a phone call to assist detectives at that location.
When you arrived at the scene, what can you describe for us what you saw?
Yes, I believe I parked to the west of the location. When I arrived, I saw crime scene tape had already been placed. There were emergency vehicles such as fire vehicles and police present already. I then walked towards the front of the house where other detectives had gathered and spoke with them regarding the case, and then we were given tasks.
When you arrived, was Alex Cox still on scene, or did you see him?
I did see him from a distance. He was seated on the sidewalk. I did not get close to him and did not know who he was at the time.
When you arrived, do you know if Lori Vallow was there?
I never saw her.
When you arrived and you said you met with other detectives, were you given an assignment or task to do?
I was.
What was that?
I was asked to assist Detective Coons with the crime scene and basically be an extra set of eyes and hands for him when processing this crime scene.
Okay. So you're with Detective Coons. Was there also anyone else assisting you?
At some point, Detective Werther was there as well, and we had a patrol officer that was standing by helping us, and also a crime scene investigator with us.
Okay. Before you can enter the house, did you obtain or did you have someone write a search warrant so you could go in the house?
Yes,
So does that mean you guys had to just kind of wait around for that to be approved?
absolutely.
And then ultimately, did you enter the scene around 11:53 in the morning?
We did.
When you were helping to process this scene, you were not the case agent, right?
No, I was not.
Were you aware of the time of the 911, when the 911 call was placed?
I was aware at the time, at that particular moment, no, I was not.
Is that something you learned later?
Yes,
Did you include that in your report at some point?
I did.
Did you get the time correct in your report?
I did not.
Have you since verified through listening to the 911 call and looking at the CAD report of the time of that 911 call?
Yes, the correct time on the 911 call is 8:36 hours that I noticed through the 911 call and CAD in reviewing for this. Then I did notice that in my supplemental report, I noted the wrong time of 8:32.
Okay. Were you aware of who made the 911 call?
I was.
And who was that?
Alex Cox.
So when you are finally allowed to enter the home, can you tell us what you observed when you first walked in?
Well, prior to walking in, we had a crime scene technician go through and take overall photographs of the entire residence. After that, we utilized the Lizard Q system to take additional photographs. Once that was complete, then we made entry in to make our own observations. The front door faces to the west of this home, and as you enter, there's a small foyer. Blue is white and black checkered flooring, and then you step into what I refer to as a great room that had no furnishings. There was a mirror on the north wall, a large picture window on the east wall, a mirror on the south wall, and a mirror on the west wall. I noticed the body of the deceased, later identified as Charles Vallow, laying on the western portion of the room. He was in what we call the supine position, with his head to the north and his feet to the south, and his arms on each side of his body.
Okay. When you saw Charles Vallow, did he appear to be fit?
Yes,
When you went into the scene, did you notice a lot of blood around the scene?
we did not.
When you were looking at Charles Vallow, you told us that his hands were each to his sides, correct?
Correct.
Did you notice any blood on his left hand?
I did.
Where did you notice that?
I noticed some blood in the webbing, we call the webbing of Charles's left hand. And in seeing that blood, and with not seeing any other blood, the only source of blood for that to come in contact with would have been on Charles' chest. So I felt that could have been from him placing his hand to his chest at one point before finally coming to rest.
So the flooring around where Charles's hand was, there was no blood around that floor area.
Correct.
I'm going to put up, if I can have the Elmo, Exhibit 40.
If they include
There we
pictures
go.
of the body, we may
Right,
not
so
be able to
What
see
we see
the
here in Exhibit
evidence.
40, when you arrived, fire had already gone in, done whatever treatment, and removed themselves from the residence, right?
Yes,
So you can still see some of their equipment attached to Charles, correct?
correct.
And then what we're looking at here is his left hand.
Yeah, his left hand on top of his left thumb and on the side of his left index finger.
And I'm putting 41 up. Is that what you observed?
Yes,
So even around Mr. Vallow, did you notice a lot of pooling of blood around him?
I did not.
Did you notice more sort of after the medical examiner's office came and enrolled him and moved him around?
Yes,
You talked about mirrors in that room. Did you notice any cracks or damage to any of those mirrors?
I did not.
Did you see the bat in the room?
I did.
Was that on Charles's right or left side?
It was on his right side above his, more north of his head.
And when you are processing that room, are you looking for any potential blood evidence that's not just on or around Charles Vallow?
Yes, we are. We're constantly looking for any kind of blood evidence that would help us tell the story. Any kind of movement of somebody who had bled and then moved through the house to try to better explain what had happened.
So in this case, did you check that wood floor in that called great room for any blood drops or spatters or smears that might be on the floor that wasn't like right under Charles?
Yes.
Did you find any?
No.
Did you go into the other rooms in the house and help search for any other blood evidence?
I did.
And did you note any blood drops or smears or anything else on the flooring or walls in any other rooms?
Not on the flooring or walls. The only other location of blood that was present would have been on the faucet of the kitchen sink.
And that was that small drop right on the faucet itself? Or
I would more smear, or I would call it a drop, but yeah, there was a red substance consistent with blood on that faucet.
okay. Were you looking around the room for any towels or shirts or anything else that may have been used to, whether it was clean up or stop bleeding?
They were.
Did you find any?
No.
At some point, as you are going through the scene, did you go into what I'm going to call the pink room
The pink room,
with the gun?
Yes, I did.
Put up an exhibit here. When you went into that room, were you, and I guess I can call it the pink as well as black and white striped room, Exhibit 71. Did you observe this orange duffel bag, the garbage bag with some clothes, and then the gun laying on the floor next to the duffel bag?
I did.
Were you responsible for making that gun safe?
I was.
What did you do to make the gun safe?
So obviously, we, with help of our crime scene technician, we photograph the gun, the bag, and everything as it is in place. That's how we found it. At that point, I would place some gloves on and pick up the gun, also looking for any kind of blood or biological evidence on the gun while I'm looking at the gun. I would eventually do what's called making the gun safe. I would remove the magazine from the gun, set that aside, and then cycle the slide to remove any kind of cartridge that's inside of the chamber. In this case, this is a Springfield XD handgun. The magazine was released and removed. The cycle was manipulated, and a single .45 caliber cartridge fell out.
I'm going to put up a couple. We see in 78 is sort of that your hand holding the magazine that you removed.
It is.
And then 86 is that your hand with the single casing.
Yes, it is.
When you were going through this evidence, was there inside that orange bag that we see in Exhibit 82, a gun case.
Yes,
Did that gun case have any locks on it?
it did not.
It's just plastic clasps to hold it closed?
Correct.
And was there extra magazines inside that gun case?
There were.
Now, when you process a scene and the evidence is then taken to police impound, do you sometimes go through it better there away from the scene?
Yes.
I'm going to put up Exhibit 81 here, that orange duffel bag. I think it's this way. Did you later go through the duffel bag?
I did.
And is there an outside pocket on that?
There is.
Did you locate a debit card in there?
I did.
If I can have my paralegal approach with 234? Do you recognize Exhibit 234?
I do.
And what is that?
It's a health savings account card in the name of Alexander Cox.
State will move to admit Exhibit 234.
Any objection?
I hear him. I'm thinking.
234 is admitted.
So Alexander Cox, is that the name of the person who called 911?
Yes, it is.
And when you are, let me ask you a little bit about the gun a little more. So this gun that you made safe, when you're looking at it, did you look at all the sides of it to see if there was, again, any blood evidence on it?
Yes,
Did you see any?
I did not.
And that's something you are going to check to make sure you don't potentially change the way it looks?
Correct.
Did you know when you went in to process the scene that Alex Cox had an injury to the back of his head?
I don't know. When I went in, no, I did not.
Did you learn at some point that he did?
Yes.
Knowing that he had an injury to his head, did that play in? Well, let me ask you, when did you learn that?
I believe it was during the investigation. We learned that Alex had sustained an injury to his head. So with that, made us more aware of potential other blood evidence, and that's why we were looking for that.
Okay. So is that why one of the reasons why you're looking on this gun to see if there was any blood transferred from him potentially touching his injury and manipulating the gun at some point?
Yes, from our understanding, it was there was some sort of assault with this, or assault with a bat, and then Alex then retrieved to the bedroom to get the gun. So our understanding is if you get hit with a bat and you're bleeding, that you hopefully bring some sort of blood evidence onto the gun, and then what happens after, there's more blood evidence as well.
So you would have documented that and then made sure it was collected if you'd seen that.
Absolutely.
But here we photographed the gun without any blood evidence on it.
Yes.
Do you also, when you obtain a gun, look at the serial number?
Yes.
Why is that relevant?
We want to know who it returns to, who owns that gun.
And did you determine who owned that gun?
We did.
Who owned the gun, the Exhibit 247, that Springfield?
Alex Cox.
Now, at some point, we've heard the medical examiner came to remove Charles Vallow's body, correct?
Yes,
And were you present when that happened?
I was.
And did you and the others that were processing the scene clean up the blood on the floor that had been left underneath him?
I did.
And when you were cleaning up the blood, did you notice anything on the floor that stood out to you where he had been located?
Yes, I did.
What did you notice?
When cleaning up the blood, I immediately noticed a defect in the floor consistent with a bullet strike that would have been close to or right on this area where the exit wound would have been on Charles' left shoulder.
So you had seen the floor and been processing that room while Charles was laying there, correct?
Right.
And once his body was removed, there's a pool of blood underneath where he was.
Correct.
And in that area, I'm going to put up Exhibit 60, is where you then observed that bullet strike.
That is correct.
I'm going to put up a little bit further back of one. Hold on. Let me put up 56. Although it's harder to see, the marker itself is next to where that bullet strike is.
Yes.
So when you are seeing this, what comes to your mind at that point?
Well, in this scene, we're trying to make sense of kind of what happened with limited information. We know we have 2 casings, and we know we have 2 projectiles. We have a projectile that's into the wall, and we also have a projectile that is near Charles' body. We believe, obviously, the first shot or a shot went through and through his body, causing 2 holes and entered into the wall. The other shot we have is a low left abdominal entry, and what we believe, and not confirmed until autopsy, but a upper left trajectory near his shoulder. We looked through the room to where this projectile could have exited throughout the room and then landed in that spot near where Charles was. And we did not see anything until his body was removed and the blood was cleaned up.
So you're looking like walls and trying to find any other location where the bullet may have struck and bounced back and ended up in the floor there.
Correct.
And you didn't find any defects or any holes or anything other than the one bullet that was in that baseboard.
Correct.
So when you see this now, did you feel that was consistent with the bullet striking the floor underneath Charles and him being on the floor when he was shot?
100%.
Because of that, did you end up actually cutting out and collecting that board?
We did.
And then you said that you were wanting to know if that was confirmed during an autopsy, correct?
Yes,
Did you attend the autopsy?
I did not.
During this initial investigation on July 11th of 2019, did you ever search Charles Vallow's rental car?
I did not.
So Lori Vallow had his car all day and nobody looked inside of it.
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Initially, as a person who was just working the scene with Detective Kuntz, did that sort of end your investigation or your involvement for at least July 11th?
Yes.
What was your next involvement in this case?
My next involvement had some prior to June of 2020. June of 2020 is when I was assigned the status of case agent in this case. Prior to that, I did help Detective Moffat with analyzing and just sorting through iCloud phone records and other data for him.
So we have heard about cell phones that had been extracted from retired Detective McDonald. That was Charles Vallow's cell phone. So
Yes.
is that one item of evidence that had been collected?
Yes.
Did you review any of that extracted data?
Yes, I did.
Did those extractions include things from emails,
Yes.
text messages,
Yes.
sort of anything you might expect to see on anyone's smartphone?
Correct.
When you are looking through this, did you look through both Charles' iPhone extraction and later some iCloud account extractions?
I did.
What are iClouds?
The best way to describe an iCloud is it's cloud storage for Apple products. If you have a MacBook or a phone or a Mac computer and you use an iCloud email address, and then the information from all of those would be stored under one iCloud account.
So someone can intentionally store things there?
Yes, you can choose what you want to store in there. A lot of times there's a default on there, but you can go through and manipulate as to what you want saved in your cloud or backed up in your cloud.
So there can also be things, if a default is on, that are, people may be not even aware that are being saved up there.
Correct.
I say up there as if it's really a cloud, but whatever. When you were reviewing this data, did you, without going into anything specifics, did you see interactions between Charles Vallow and Lori Vallow prior to about June 27th of 2019?
I did.
And did you see interactions with Charles Vallow and Lori Vallow after June 27th of 2019?
Yes,
Did you see a change in those interactions?
definitely.
Did you learn from reviewing Charles Vallow's cell phone extraction and iCloud accounts that Charles had found an email sent to Chad Daybell that was purportedly written by him?
Yes, I did.
Did that involve an email address, kkwalker75 at Yahoo?
Yes, it did.
Did Charles Vallow in fact save a copy of that email into his account?
Yes, he did.
In reviewing Charles Vallow's cell phone extraction and iCloud account prior to this time in June, had you seen any use of this kkwalker75 at yahoo.com email address? Prior to June 27th of 2019, had you seen Charles Vallow utilizing that email address?
Had I seen Charles utilize it? Sorry, no, I did not.
Okay. So even though you're going through his account, you're seeing emails by him, right?
Right.
And you're seeing emails that are saved into his own iCloud account,
Yes.
but nothing in there was saved prior to June of 27th of 2019 relating to kkwalker75 at yahoo.com.
That is correct.
Was the first time that you kind of became aware of this account when you saw that Charles had saved an email and then began texting Lori Vallow about it?
Yes.
Did you find multiple text messages or SMS messages from Charles Vallow to Lori Vallow relating to this letter?
Yes, I did.
Did you find evidence that Charles Vallow, after discovering this email, contacted Chad Daybell?
Yes.
Did you find evidence that after Charles Vallow found this kkwalker75 email address, that Charles Vallow contacted Chad Daybell's wife, Tammy Daybell?
Yes.
Was a search warrant executed on Yahoo for that kkwalker75 at yahoo.com?
It was.
If I can have my paralegal approach with 289. Does 289 include first an affidavit from Yahoo authenticating the kkwalker75@yahoo.com account?
It does.
Does it include information for the subscriber?
It does.
And does it include a portion of the emails associated with that account?
Yes, it is.
When you looked at the subscriber information, what was the name of the person subscribing to this?
Karen Walker.
Did that person provide a phone number?
Yes, they did.
And so when they're subscribing to sign this up, is that often a requirement to provide some sort of phone number or way to authenticate these?
Yes,
Did you recognize that phone number?
I did.
How did you recognize it?
The phone number was linked to an old phone number for Lori Vallow.
Was that her 480 phone number?
Yeah, last ending in 4652.
So you had seen text messages from Lori Vallow to other family members and people under that phone number
Correct,
in her iCloud account?
correct.
Did you also know when that account was opened?
Yes, it was opened in April, get the exact date, April of 2019, April 21st.
April 21st of 2019. Would that have been when Lori Vallow and Charles Vallow were now in Houston?
Yes,
Did you also note in the context itself reference to requesting Chad Daybell come out to Houston?
I did.
The state will move to admit 289 pursuant to 803 and 902.
Any objection?
Relevance, Your Honor.
289 submitted.
If I may publish.
Go ahead.
So zoom in a little closer for us. Is this the subscriber information that Yahoo sent? Let me first say, so they send you an authentication, correct? And then they sent you subscriber information. Is that what you were looking at, where you noted a phone number that you recognized as belonging to Lori Vallow?
Yes,
And again, this shows when the account was created on Sunday, April 21st,
yes,
but the name associated was Karen Walker.
correct.
Were you provided with a timeline of when this account was used?
I was.
So April 21st through June 26th?
Yes,
In looking at Charles Vallow's iCloud account and cell phone extraction, was this right before he discovered that email?
yes,
Now, some of the emails that were sent starting sort of April 21st were to Brother Daybell, to Chad Daybell.
yes,
And we see up here to Chad Daybell, correct?
correct.
And then we see the date of Sunday, April 21st of
Correct.
2019.
Yes,
And so in this email, do we see that Karen is inviting Brother Daybell to Houston?
yes,
In these messages was a final message, one that you found saved by Charles Vallow on or around June 27th or 28th. This, what we see is exhibit again 289.
correct.
In this message, it's from the KK Walker email.
It is.
So these prior emails, we saw a person purporting to be Karen Walker using Lori Daybell's phone number, writing to Brother Daybell, right?
Yes,
But here we see someone again from this same email now purporting to be Charles Vallow.
yes,
again, talking about a Preparing the People conference.
Correct.
And had you heard of the Preparing the People conference before?
I had.
Is that something that Lori Vallow was involved in?
Yes,
And is that something we've heard about through testimony here at court?
we have.
In this, does Charles Vallow, or the person writing this email, again, ask Chad Daybell to come out to visit,
Yes,
to help write a book?
correct.
And so is this then the email that Charles then began reaching out to Lori, Chad, and Tammy about?
Yes,
We had heard from Adam that he also had learned of this. Did you see evidence of Charles Vallow also sending this letter that we see in 289 to Adam?
I did.
Based upon your review of the case and the dates on here, did Charles Vallow begin confronting Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell about the affair less than 2 weeks before he was killed?
He did.
And did you in fact see emails that Charles Vallow sent to Chad Daybell on June 29th and 30th?
I did.
And did you in fact see emails that Charles Vallow sent to Tammy Daybell on June 29th and June 30th of 2019?
I did.
At the time on June 29th, 30th, where was Charles residing at that time?
During that time, Charles was in Houston, Texas.
During that time, where was Lori Vallow?
She was in Arizona.
We have this timeline where Charles Vallow begins reaching out to Lori and Chad's wife about this affair. Was the first time that Charles Vallow saw Lori Vallow after this, him discovering this email on July 11th of 2019?
I believe so. There was a scheduled trip around the 4th of July, but was canceled. So the next time they would have seen each other would have been the July 11th.
So based upon your review of SMS messages, iCloud accounts, did Charles help Lori move here to Arizona about a week before this email?
Yes,
So he had seen her prior to learning about this,
correct.
and then when he came out here to see JJ.
Yes.
When you were reviewing, well, let me ask you this. Were search warrants executed to obtain not only Charles Vallow's iCloud accounts, but Lori Vallow's iCloud accounts?
Yes, they were.
Were there two different iCloud accounts that were, that search warrants were executed on?
Yes,
Was one of them Lori for Style at iCloud.com?
it was.
And was the other one Lolly Time at iCloud.com?
It was.
In reviewing those records, did you ever find evidence, screenshots of flights that Lori Vallow went to Idaho in March of 2019?
I did.
And did you ever find evidence, screenshots of flights that Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow flew back to Arizona together on March 19th of 2019? Now, we heard from Adam Cox last week. And he testified about text messages and interactions that he and Charles had leading up to July 11th. When you were going through the extractions of Charles Vallow's phone, did you see text messages between Charles Vallow and Adam Cox?
Yes.
And did those match what we observed? And I'm going to put up 210 here that was previously admitted. Were these the messages that were previously admitted, Exhibit 210, the same ones you saw in Charles Vallow's phone?
Yes, they are.
Okay. When you were reviewing the text messages or SMS messages for July 11th of 2019, do phones and the extractions advise when a message is received as well as when it's read?
It would show that, yes, in the Cellbrite report. Yes.
Okay. So, for instance, we see here a time and a read, correct?
Correct.
So when a message is incoming, it'll show when it's read.
Correct.
Obviously, when it's outgoing, we don't have that, correct?
Right.
So as you were looking at those messages on the cell phone extraction, did you see as Charles is arriving, he's sending messages to Adam?
Yes, that's correct.
And then he receives a message from Adam at 7:36:19,
Yes.
and he read that. I'm going to pull in just a little closer so we can see. At 7:36:27,
Yes.
so just a few seconds later.
Correct.
And then again, he gets that message from Adam, they're planning something. And did he again read that like simultaneously?
Yes.
And then did Charles send a message within a few seconds of reading that? Absolutely.
Correct.
And then again, this timing is just within seconds, like just ongoing conversation.
Yes.
Do we see that just a few seconds later, Adam sends a message to Charles? I was supposed to spend the night at the house last night. She probably blocked that.
Yes, I do.
And then again, another 20 seconds later, Charles sends Adam a message. What you do is up to you.
Yes.
Then we see that Adam sends a message back to Charles again within another 17 seconds or something. I'm going to put the pressure to have him come get me now, see what he says. And that was read again, when?
12:13.
And again, did Adam send a second message where he says, okay? And when was that read?
12:13.
And then Adam sends another message now. So these first two were at 7:37:29 and 7:37:39.
Yes.
And those were not read like these other ones almost simultaneously, correct?
Correct.
So after Charles said, what you do is up to you, it doesn't appear that he is any longer reading those emails
Correct.
or text messages, I apologize. The last text message that Adam sent then at 7:49 and 34 seconds was, me and Zach are going to the Stake Center tonight at 8 to play basketball. Holmes is always there, either playing ball or interviewing people. I will try to catch him to have a conversation with my old friend, right?
Correct.
When was that read?
12:13 as well.
Is Charles Vallow alive at 12:13?
He is not.
So someone else is reading those.
Yes.
And this is coming from the extraction of Charles Vallow's phone.
Correct.
Do you know who was in possession of Charles Vallow's phone at 12:13 p.m. on July 11th of 2019?
Lori,
How do you know that?
she told us, and she turned the phone back over to us later that afternoon.
Did you ever find any other evidence that Lori Vallow and Alex Cox went through Charles Vallow's phone on July 11th of 2019?
Yes.
During this investigation, what we had already heard through Detective Werther, that a search warrant was executed on Alex Cox's Verizon cell phone 480-351-9120. And were you familiar with those records?
I am.
As part of the records that Verizon sent, and this is Exhibit 222 that has previously been admitted, did Verizon provide subscriber information?
Yes,
And that came back to Alex Cox.
correct.
Did Verizon provide phone calls,
Yes,
cell phone data,
yes,
cell tower data?
yes,
And did they also provide some images that were saved by Verizon for associated with this phone number for Alex Cox?
they did.
Is that something that is with every carrier?
No, it's hit or miss as to whether you get them or not. Some carriers save them for longer, some save for shorter periods of time. Some don't save them at all.
Were these images, did the images themselves have any type of time date stamp on them?
The image other than itself, it's an image of a phone with a time in the corner of the phone.
Okay.
And it,
So let me put up, I'm going to put up some of these images that were from this. So many of us talk about a screenshot, right? Is this a screenshot?
no,
Why not? How do we know it's not?
because obviously in this case, you can actually see the entire phone and you also have a counter in the background.
So in this image that Verizon sent, it's showing an actual phone. Have you seen Charles Vallow's phone?
Yes,
Did it look like the same shape as his phone?
yes,
We see a time of 2:13 p.m., correct?
correct.
When you were going through Charles Vallow's phone itself and the extraction, did you see this message between Charles Vallow and Adam Cox?
I did.
Did in fact Charles place the flight or book a flight for Adam Cox to come to Phoenix?
He did.
Was there another image showing a closer up of the portion of that call with the flight information for Adam Cox?
Yes,
And did it also include a screenshot where Adam talks about going to see Lori at her house and having a talk with her and keeping his phone on record?
yes,
And were these all messages, text messages between Adam and Charles that you found on the extraction report?
they are.
And these are images that were saved by Verizon associated to Alex Cox's phone?
Yes,
So the Chandler Police Department had Charles's phone back in their possession by 3 or so in the afternoon of July 11th, correct?
yes,
And it's been in Chandler Police Department's possession,
it has.
and yet the Verizon records for Alex Cox show photographs of Charles's phone and those conversations between Charles and Adam.
Yes,
Now, did you learn in this investigation whether or not Lori Vallow knew the PIN to enter Charles's phone?
I did.
And did she in fact provide that to Detective Inclan so that it was easy to get into Charles's phone?
Yes,
So on July 11th, Lori Vallow has Charles Vallow's phone and she knows the PIN number to access it,
yes,
and it's in her possession.
correct.
Did you ever find evidence that Alex Cox sent those photos of Charles Vallow's phone showing Adam's flight reservations to Lori Vallow on July 13th of 2019?
I did.
Again, we're talking about those iCloud accounts. Did you find that when you were reviewing the lollytime@icloud.com account information?
Yes,
I can have my Paralegal approach with 231. And I apologize. I should have also given you 226 as well. Do you recognize 236 there as the affidavit for the lollytime@icloud.com account information?
I do.
When you were investigating this case and you obtained a search warrant for the lollytime@icloud account, how did you authenticate or know that those records were related to Lori Vallow?
So first and foremost, the account lists her phone number in the 956, ending in 9562, associating that number with the account. Secondly, you can go through the content of the account and you see contacts familiar to Lori. You see text messages where she's texting and people are calling her by her name of Lori. You also have photographs and videos on the account that could all associate that account to Lori.
Did that lollytime@icloud account even include photographs of Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell's wedding?
I did.
Your Honor, the state will move to admit Exhibit 226, which is the affidavit, as well as Exhibit 231, the photographs.
Any objection?
Relevant, Your Honor.
All right. Give me the numbers again, 226, 231.
226 and 231.
226, 231 are admitted.
And if I may publish.
Go ahead.
So when we're talking about the iCloud account, are you able to kind of go through this extraction, what is provided to you by Apple, and look for things separated in terms of like emails or text messages or photographs?
Yes.
And then are you also able to then determine both sources and timestamps for some of those things?
You are, yes.
So looking at this report from the Apple iCloud account, do we see the lollytime@icloud as a source?
Yes.
And then we see a timestamp over here of 7:13 at 5:57 p.m.
Correct.
And then this, does that mean that's converted for Arizona time?
The UTC -7 mean it is Arizona time, yes.
Okay. And then we see from Alex Cox, the 9120 number, the one that we were talking about just recently, correct? So in this report, we see that there's 3 photographs that were sent.
Thumbnails of those, yes.
And then were those photographs also obtained or saved in the iCloud account?
Yes, they were.
And so again, showing those, were these the same 3 photographs that you had found in Alex Cox's Verizon records?
They are.
And looking at this, what day was Adam returning?
He was Sunday, July 14th.
So this message, this text message and photographs was sent on the 13th prior to Adam returning.
Yes.
Now, I want to talk to you a little bit about that timeline and what you understood when we start including all this information in. Based upon your investigation, did you learn that Charles Vallow's phone left the area of 5531 South Four Peaks Place around 7:49 a.m. on July 11th?
Yes, I did.
So what we see is it's around the time that Adam sent that last text message.
Correct.
Based upon the GPS data from Charles Vallow's cell phone, when she left with Charles's phone around 7:49 a.m., and the 911 call being received at 8:36 a.m., how much time lapsed?
17 minutes? The time?
From 7:49
49?
to 8:36, was that
Oh,
46?
47 minutes?
So if we have heard testimony from Dr. Baumgartner that Charles Vallow, when he was shot in the heart, would have taken up to a couple minutes to die after he was shot in the heart, and Lori Vallow has told Detective N-Clan that she left right after Charles was shot, would that mean that Charles Vallow just lay dead on the floor for 45 minutes before Alex Cox called 911 at best?
Yes.
When you were looking at those Verizon cell phone records for Alex Cox, Exhibit 222, did you look at when and to whom Alex Cox called?
I did, yes.
Now, when you are looking at cell phone records, do they often include sort of dates and times of phone numbers, phone calls, durations, and those sorts of things?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to use the back of one of these here. So when we start looking at July 11th, is the first call that we see on Alex Cox's phone him making an outgoing call?
Yes.
And do we see who he calls?
Lori.
So this 480-692-9562 number is one of the phone numbers that you have obtained a search warrant for that was subscribed to Lori Vallow.
Correct.
And when did that occur?
7:52 a.m.
So Lori Vallow leaves the house at 7:49 with Charles's phone, and 3 minutes later, Alex calls her.
Yes.
And did that last for
Under a minute, I believe.
under a minute? 49 seconds.
Yes.
Did you look at the next call that Adam Cox made on July 11th?
I did.
Was that what we see here at 8:06 a.m.?
Yes, set for the UTC -7 is 8:06 a.m. and that lasted for 55 seconds.
Who was that to?
Also placed to Lori.
So if Lori Vallow left the house at 7:49 with Charles Vallow's phone, how much time has lapsed when Alex calls her this second time? I know it's math. Is it about
Oh, I
17
know,
minutes?
Right, 17 minutes, yeah.
Okay. And actually, I think so at this point, has Alex called 911 yet at 8:06 a.m.?
At 8:06, he has not, no.
So at 8:06, Alex Cox calls Lori a second time, and Charles Vallow's now been laying on the floor for at least 17 minutes.
Correct.
Understanding that the 911 call isn't made till 8:36, Alex Cox waits another 30 minutes before he calls 911.
Yes.
Did Lori Vallow ever call 911?
No,
Neither of her calls, neither of her phones,
none,
not on Charles's phone.
no.
And do we in fact see the 911 call that was made by Alex Cox on these records?
Yes,
And it shows it as, these ones have not been converted, right?
yeah, it's not converted, but the time converting that to the -7 would be 8:35:54 seconds.
So when we see the 911 call, that's the connection time with the dispatch was 8:36, basically.
Yes.
So we knew from Charles Vallow's phone and from body cam that Lori Vallow returns to 5531 South Four Peaks at about 8:48 a.m., correct?
Yes.
As you are looking through these phone records, are you looking to also identify whether or not what people are saying matches what we'll call the digital, the unchangeable evidence?
Yeah.
So you were present when Adam Cox testified, correct?
Correct.
And do you recall him testifying that he called his brother Alex on July 9th to see if he could stay with him?
Yes.
Did you look to see if Alex Cox records show if Adam called him?
I did.
So if we looked at Exhibit 222, those Verizon records for Adam Cox, would we see on July 9th at 13:21 hours that Adam called Alex?
Correct.
Did that call last over 20 minutes?
It did.
Did you also hear Adam testify that he tried to reach Alex when he got to Phoenix on July 10th?
Yes.
And again, if we looked at Exhibit 222, Alex Cox's Verizon records, did you see any attempts by Adam to reach his brother Alex?
I did.
Did you see a call on July 10th at 3:22 p.m.?
Yes.
Did that not connect? There was no conversation time.
Correct.
Did you see a text message from Adam to Alex on Alex's records, Exhibit 222, at 3:23 p.m. on July 10th?
Yes.
Now, these records did not have the context of that, correct?
Correct.
But you can see that Adam sent a text message to his brother Alex.
Yes.
Did you see Alex ever call or text back his brother Adam?
Never.
Did you see another text from Adam to his brother Alex in Exhibit 222 at 6:28 p.m.?
Yes.
Did you see a response back from Alex to Adam?
I did not.
We also heard Adam testify, and we saw in those text messages that between Adam and Charles on July 11th, that Adam said he was going to reach out to Alex and see what he did, right?
Right.
Did you look at Exhibit 222, these Verizon records, to see whether or not Adam, in fact, had reached out to Alex?
Yeah.
And does Exhibit 222 show that at 7:40 a.m. on July 11th of 2019, that Adam, in fact, texted his brother Alex?
Yes.
Did you see a response from Alex to Adam?
I did not.
So did Alex's cell phone records, Exhibit 222, sort of confirm or match what Adam was saying about trying to reach his brother?
They did.
When you were going through the extraction of Charles Vallow's cell phone, did you ever find a copy of a lease agreement for 5531 South Four Peaks?
I did.
If I could have my paralegal approach with 212.
Okay,
Do you recognize Exhibit 212?
I do.
Is that a lease agreement for 5531 South Four Peaks Place in Chandler that you found in that extraction of Charles Vallow's phone?
It is.
If I could have that back. The state will move to admit Exhibit 212.
Any objection?
It doesn't look like the complete amount, but okay. No objection.
Objection. 212 is admitted.
So did this sort of photo of a document that you found on Charles's phone show the lease date?
It did.
And when was that?
June 22nd, 2019 to end on June 30th of 2022.
So a 3-year lease.
Correct.
Based upon your investigation, speaking with people as well as just going through Charles Vallow's iCloud account, his cell phone, where was Charles Vallow living in June and July of 2019?
In Houston.
Did you, in fact, find evidence that Charles Vallow had flown to Phoenix on July 10th of 2019?
Yes.
So we had talked a little earlier that in addition to the Lolly Time account, that there was a Lori for Style iCloud account, correct?
Yes.
In terms of the Lori for Style at iCloud account, how did you identify that iCloud account as being associated with Lori Vallow?
Very similar to the Lolly Time account. The phone number ending in 9562 is listed as the subscriber phone number. Also the content of the phone, looking at photographs, videos, and communication with others. That is also the Lori for Style iCloud is a address that she actually gave to Banner Insurance as well.
Do we see in the Lori for Style two different phone numbers, both the 808-755-5452 and the 480-692-9562 number assigned to that subscriber?
You do.
If I can have my paralegal approach with 224 and 225. And do you recognize 224 as the affidavit from the iCloud records authenticating them?
Yes.
And is 225 some of the SMS or text messages that were saved in the Lori for Style at iCloud.com records?
Yes, they are.
State will move to admit 224 through 225. Oh, 224 and 225, sorry.
224 and 225 are admitted.
When you were going through the Lori for Style iCloud account records, did you ever find any recordings in that iCloud account related to Chad Daybell?
I did.
Did you find a recording from November 17th of 2018 of Chad Daybell in Arizona?
Yes, it was him speaking at a Preparing of People event.
And have we heard testimony from witnesses who attended a Preparing the People conference here in November of 2018?
Yes.
In the Lori for Style at iCloud account, did you find text message or SMS messages saved between Lori Vallow and her brother Alex Cox?
Yes.
When you were looking through these records, had you become aware of the name Ned?
Yes.
What was the relevance of that name in your investigation?
Through this investigation, we had learned that Ned was the name of a dark spirit that had taken over Charles' body. And so in knowing this, I went through these records looking for a mention of Ned and to the reference and how it was used.
And was this, when we talk about the dark spirit, is this something that through your investigation, as we've heard in court, was a name that Lori had associated or given to Charles Vallow?
Yes.
In Exhibit 225, are these messages in the Lori for Style iCloud account between Lori Vallow and her brother Alex Cox, where they're talking about Ned?
Yes, they are.
Was the first time that you found that reference to Ned from February 15th of 2019 from Alex Cox to Lori Vallow?
Yes, it is.
And is that where we see Alex saying that Ned was at the temple yesterday looking for you? He thinks you are staying with me.
Correct.
And so again, we see the source is the Lori for Style, correct?
Yes.
And we see two, this is Lori Vallow's iCloud account, correct? And that's the number that we have associated with her with T-Mobile?
Yes.
And then Alex Cox's Verizon record.
Correct.
During your investigation on February 15th of 2019, is this the time period where Lori Vallow had disappeared and was no longer in contact with Charles Vallow?
Yes.
Is this the time period where Charles had JJ by himself?
Yes.
And do we see then Lori Vallow saying, that's good that he is so off, I guess?
Yes.
The next time we see the reference to Ned is that in March 2nd of 2019, again from Alex Cox to Lori Vallow?
Yes.
And does he advise, Ned just came by and Tylee unleashed on him. He came to my house and he went to Summers first. He ran up in a rental car.
Correct.
So again, your understanding is from this investigation, from testimony at court, that Ned was Charles.
Yes.
Now, again, we talk about, there was a time period when Lori is, both we've heard in Hawaii and in Idaho, correct?
Correct.
Do we also see Alex trying to get Lori Vallow's new address?
Yes.
And she gives him a lollytimeforever@gmail.com, correct?
Correct.
So that's another address that she had.
Yes.
Now we heard, again, Ned being associated to Charles. Do we have a text message on March 26th of 2019 from Alex to Lori saying, Ned is still alive, just confirmed?
Correct.
This next message, is that from Lori Vallow to Alex?
Yes.
And it says, it's not Ned, right?
Correct.
So it's not even a he, it's. And then we have another message, it's a new one, Ned is gone.
Correct.
So is this around the time where we've heard of that girls' weekend,
Yes.
where they were trying to cast out the evil spirit in Charles?
Correct.
as you continued in this Lori for style, do we see again Lori texting Alex saying, no one has seen him, right? Just talk to him.
Correct?
And then Alex says, correct, Charles' body is alive, right?
Yes.
So in your investigation and through the testimony here at trial, have you heard people indicate that Charles's body was possessed by an evil spirit?
I have.
And they're trying to cast out this evil spirit?
Yes.
So here we see that it's not Charles is alive, it's Charles's body's alive.
Correct.
Does Alex then respond to Lori, what did you learn?
Yes.
That one's from Alex to Lori.
Correct.
And then does she respond, a lot, still working on it, we'll call you later.
That's correct.
When you went through a lot of these records, did you see a lot of reference to telling people to call her?
Yes.
Obviously, we don't have those recordings, right?
Correct.
And so would you often see calls then in the phone records to match up with a request to call?
Yes.
Going back to the Lolly Time iCloud account, was that account created on July 1st of 2019?
It was.
Was that created after Charles Vallow contacted Lori and Chad Daybell and Tammy Daybell about the affair?
It was.
When you were going through those Lolly Time at iCloud account records, did you find evidence or find photographs in the Lolly Time at iCloud account showing the change in Charles's beneficiary form for his life insurance?
I did.
Did you see both a photograph of a computer as well as of documents?
Yes.
Show defense 232. I can have my paralegal approach with 232.
Go ahead.
Do you recognize both the report and the photos that were obtained or part of the records for the Lolly Time at iCloud.com account that was obtained through a search warrant by the police department?
Yes.
State would move to admit Exhibit 232.
Any objection?
No objection.
232 is admitted.
And if I may publish. So again, when you are going through these iCloud accounts, just like with the cell phone extractions, are you able to sort of pull out reports and save the documents themselves, both in the report and then print off those documents.
Yes.
So looking at this exhibit 232, do we see all that's from the Lolly Time at iCloud account, right?
Correct.
And then we see that on July 28th, that these photographs were sent to a phone number 515-402-0143 with a contact name of Bubby.
I do.
Now let's first go through these records, then we'll talk about the phone number, okay?
Okay.
So what we see here are sort of the thumbnails. Are these the actual photographs associated or sent in each of these messages?
Yes, they are.
So we see these are MMS messages, meaning there's a photo associated with it.
Yes.
So one of the photos associated with it was this Banner life insurance. Oops, I'm sorry, we're too close. Banner life insurance policy for Charles Vallow, correct?
Correct.
Showing Lori Vallow as the primary beneficiary.
Yes.
And then there was a photograph of the document showing, again, $1 million policy,
Yes.
started in 2015, and the owner insured are Charles Vallow.
Yes.
Then was there a photo of a computer screen?
There is.
And were you able to tell, because you see sort of the icons that you would see at the bottom of a computer screen in this,
Correct.
and a little bit of a glare on it? And is this the designation form that was changed by Charles Vallow that we had talked about previously in court?
Yes.
And so this is a photograph of the computer showing that Charles Vallow, in fact, changed this to Ethel K. Woodcock.
That is correct.
So on July 28th, Lori Vallow is sending copies of this to someone she calls Bubby.
Yes.
Now, did you guys want to find out who Bubby was?
Absolutely.
Did you actually obtain a search warrant to get those phone records from AT&T for 515-402-0143?
Yes, I did.
I can have my paralegal approach with Exhibit 223. Do you see in there, first, an affidavit from AT&T authenticating those records for the 515 number?
Yes.
A thumb drive that contains all of the records that were sent,
Yes.
as well as some of the subscriber information and records.
Yes.
Now, obviously, contact names are just contact names. Were you able to determine who this number was associated with?
Yes.
How?
Once again, looking through the content of the messages that we saw via either photographs sending back and forth or just written content, this person was found to be Chad Daybell. In addition to that, we received an audio recording from a local business in which Chad contacted this business and listed this as his phone number.
So this 515 number, there's a recording of Chad Daybell using this phone number to contact a business.
Yes.
And then the context of the messages that you see in this iCloud account with the contact Bubby confirmed that this was in fact Chad Daybell.
Yes.
State will move to admit Exhibit 223.
Any objection?
No objection.
223 is admitted.
So on July 28th of 2019, Lori Vallow is sending photographs of the life insurance policy, original, and the change to Chad Daybell.
Yes.
As you were going through this iCloud account, the lolly time, did you go through many, many, many text messages?
Yes, I did.
Did you note text messages between Lori Vallow and her brother Alex Cox that were saved in that lolly time account?
Yes.
As you were going through those text messages, did you note Lori Vallow giving her brother the new address of 5531 South Four Peaks Place?
I did.
Did you see the messages leading up to July 11th? For instance, one on July 9th, talking about being like Nephi?
I did.
Did you see text messages between them even out to August 12th, where Lori Vallow talks about going to Social Security?
Yes.
And in these text messages, as you looked at these two conversing, did you see text messages talking about other people being Z's, just the letter, because of their association with Charles?
Yes.
I'm going to show Defense Exhibit 227. Now, these messages in this iCloud account that are in this report, are these all of the messages that they had?
No,
Are these just a portion of them?
they are.
It's ready.
Oh, sorry, I'm done.
And if actually, can I have my paralegal approach with 227?
Go ahead.
Looking at Exhibit 227, are those just that portion of the SMS messages between Lori Vallow and Alex Cox that were saved on the lolly time at iCloud account that we've discussed there? Sort of
Yes, they
leading
are.
up to and right after July 11th.
Yes.
State will move to admit Exhibit 227.
Any objection?
No objection, Your Honor.
227 is admitted.
So let's go through these. So again, we're seeing SMS messages, and we're starting here on July 9th, correct?
Yeah, 3:05 p.m.
And these are from Lori Vallow. This starts the first one from Lori Vallow to Alex Cox.
Yes.
So we see Lori Vallow tell her brother that Mel is bringing Bodie over here for you now, so can you come? Correct?
Yes.
So the 9th is the day that Charles and Adam are making their plane reservations.
Yes.
And do we see that Alex tells Lori he'll be over in a bit?
Correct.
And then as we continue on the 9th, we see Lori respond, perfect, thanks, right?
Yes.
And then Alex has to ask for her address, correct?
Yes.
And so on the 9th, Lori Vallow provides her brother with the address she lives at, 5531 South Four Peaks, correct?
Correct.
And then there appears to be a response from Alex to her AX.
I believe that's probably an attempt to correct the prior state in the above. He spells it AX as well, too. So there's an AX below.
Okay. So a little bit later, we see that was at 4:57 p.m., correct?
Yes.
So at 9 o'clock on the 9th, do we see a message from Lori Vallow to Alex Cox? So the plot thickens, call me when you can.
Yes.
Now, at that point, when you looked at phone records, did you see any call between Lori Vallow and Alex Cox? Initially after this first text message.
Not after that first one, no.
So about 47 minutes later, on July 9th, at 9:50 p.m., does Lori Vallow send her brother Alex Cox a message, getting sleepy, so I'm going to need you to stay close to me the next couple days. Mel too. She can't go to Utah. They are planking some kind of intervention, but want Mel out of the way, so I'm left alone. I need to come get the stuff at your house tomorrow and store it or secure it. Lots to do. Thank you for standing by me. It's all coming to a head this week. I will be like Nephi, I am told, and so will you. When you saw that message, did you ever check Alex Cox's cell phone records to determine whether or not there was a phone call after that?
I did.
Did you see that Alex Cox and Lori Vallow talked on July 9th at 21:56 hours? What time would that be?
9:56.
So 6 minutes after this, for 56 minutes.
Correct.
So 6 minutes after this text message, Lori and her brother have almost an hour-long conversation.
Yes.
Now, in this message, when you were going through these records, did you recognize or learn who Nephi was?
So in going through this particular message, I knew that Nephi was a figure in the Book of Mormon related to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, but I didn't understand the significance. So I then did some research to find out who Nephi was.
You were present in court when Adam testified, correct?
Yes.
And did his testimony about Nephi being told by the Holy Spirit to kill Laban and that this was a justified killing match with what you had learned when you researched it?
Yes, it did.
So as you were going through these messages, and let me say this investigation, were you able to get to this like July 12th? You're on it and reviewing all these iCloud accounts?
No.
Did it take significant period of time to start finding phone numbers and finding iCloud accounts and then writing warrants to obtain them?
Correct. It's an evolving process. You would find one, and then that would lead you to another. So you're continually writing search warrants for other carriers and businesses.
Okay. So when you're reviewing this now, you know the scene and you're understanding some of the case, but you're still putting pieces together.
Right.
Now, were you aware from looking at Charles's phone and the messages between Charles and Adam that they were talking about an intervention?
Yes.
So on July 9th, Adam and Charles were discussing an intervention,
Correct.
possibly recording Lori.
Yes.
And then what we see then at 9:50 at night is Lori telling her brother that they're planning an intervention.
Yes.
So the same day that Adam and Lori were, or that Adam and Charles were talking, Lori is already letting her brother know there's going to be an intervention.
Correct.
And they're trying to get her separate and alone for this.
Correct.
And then there's that long phone call that we don't have recorded, correct?
Yes.
Judge, do you want me to keep going through these or break here? I do have a significant number
Yeah,
more.
let's go ahead and take our lunch recess. Almost 12:05. I'll remind the jury to remember the admonition. We'll resume at 1:30 p.m.
All rise for the jurors.
Oh boy. Okay, so I'm just leaving it up down there in case he speaks to them, but I don't think he will. Well, he could. He could. But wow. This is some of the most damning testimony also compared with yesterday in the Emmy, with Ariel Werther, and then the Emmy the day before. This is really, they're ending on a high note, the prosecution. I really am impressed with how Treena K and the the prosecution for Arizona is laying out this case. I don't think the jury could have any doubt that they conspired at this point. There's enough evidence. Remember, conspiracy never is physical evidence kinds of stuff. You very rarely have video of them actually admitting to it and doing it. You very rarely have phone calls unless, of course, you're doing those wiretappings like they did with the mob stuff, way back. These days, things are easier to hide as far as phone call messages and things like that. Well, just the fact that they had the phone calls and the types of text messages that are before and after, along with documentation of the events that happened before and after, they're doing a good job of connecting all the strings and showing the big picture of all the players involved. I think they've really done a good job turning the tables on Lori for motive. Now they're going to be questioning her demeanor. Of course, she's calm. If it's a plan that you all laid out, why would you be upset? I think a lot of this is also what really, really nailed Chad Daybell. You're correct, Liam. I do. I think that it definitely, yeah. Strong finish, yup. Strong finish. And it just keeps building. Yeah. So we're going to have a second stream this afternoon for the afternoon section. I believe you guys pretty, much feel that the majority feel that Lori is going to cross. But I'm wondering how she can. Is it just going to be, and I'd see that my fourth option wasn't there, which was no, she just wanted the jury to speculate. Because I think when she doesn't cross, I think she says it would be better for the jury to wonder why she didn't. Like, she doesn't think it's a big deal, that's her best option. Because remember, she didn't cross Christina Atwood, and that was really, really quite damaging as far as testimony for her. It was about her saying Charles was possessed. It was about speaking of her new beliefs that were outside of the faith, in such things, and actually the utterances of Alex saying he wished he could kill Charles, and Lori actually admitting to crushing up pills and putting them in something that he drinks. And Christina actually meeting with her the next day and saying, if anything happens to Charles, I'm going to the police. That, I hope, is in the jury's mind also, as they hear all of this about the information getting to Chad, about them talking back and forth. Alex and Lori actually working physically together in preparation. These text messages say that they were prepping. The sharing of the information back and forth, and then actually Alex taking a picture of the flight information, and someone taking pictures of Charles's phone with all the flight information for Alex on it. This is obviously why Lori did not want to give Charles's phone back. This is obviously what she was doing while she was inciting riot, and Alex was killing him. point blank. There's no evidence of a struggle. There's a slight bump on Alex's head. There is no blood going from the great room to back to the room where the gun was. If there was an altercation with the bat, how come it's they're testifying that Tylee was outside when the shot happened? Why did Tylee not see him get shot if Alex was protecting Tylee and Lori? Like, there's just so much that doesn't make any sense. And Lori's story is what did this herself. Also, I did see a video. You know, when they showed the Walgreen video, did anybody zero in that it really did look like she had shoes on her feet? And she keeps stressing that she was barefoot when she left. Were there shoes in the rental car? Because now we know she was in the rental car, which means it wasn't like she found an extra pair of sandals in one of her vehicles. I don't know. What is she going to say? I always carry an extra pair in my purse. And why did I have to go to Walgreens to get flip-flops then for the two of us? If we left barefoot. They didn't leave barefoot. They did not leave barefoot from that house. To show that she left because of the argument, that she left because she felt threatened by Charles, and she had to get JJ to school. She just wanted to get the kids out of there because Charles, her claim is that Charles was acting violently towards everyone and aggressively in some weird way to try to prove that she felt threatened. Turtle, all that's missing is the dark, smoky back room. You know, I agree. I do. And you know what? Couch, too. I think there's just too much that came out. She's going to be itching to push back, but I don't think it's going to go well. It's really hard to push back against data from experts. She can't deny that those are her messages. What is she going to say? You know, what is the line of questioning? Detective Duncan, in your experience, is it normal for delusional people to just make up stuff and text back and forth to multiple people and like a joke for months? I mean, that's her best bet. I mean, seriously, what could she possibly say? He spent a fair bit of time on that stand. Yes, he did. What is she going to push back about the affair? Detective Duncan, is it your experience that if a man is cheating on a woman, she immediately goes out and has an affair? You know, because that's the right thing to do. Like, if I think it's wrong that he did it, I should just go do it, right? Because that's, you know, that's what people do. I think it sticks out that she lied, Charlie. The credibility that she's trying to, I think the fact that she was wearing shoes when she states she wants points to credibility, and that she's going out of her way to make up a story that she thinks pleads her case, and that she did it from the very second she was interviewed when she wasn't even a suspect. That speaks loudly to me that there's something wrong there. And I think it spoke loudly to the detectives. She claimed they were in fight or flight mode, but she sent Tylee back in the house to get her purse. Exactly. Maggie, are you laughing? I mean, when I make the jokes, like, I do find some humor in the Lori aspect of it because she's just so delusional. Like, I have to find some entertainment there because actually this is one of the most horrific cases I've ever looked into. Her trial in the beginning set me off afterwards. Like, I was devastated with the evidence that was exposed there in regards to the murder of those two children and how far they went, even in the killing of Tammy Daybell. And I knew Charles was already dead. And I knew that Brandon Bordeaux was shot at. And I knew that they just all were on this like killing mission of anyone who was in their way. For what? In the Idaho trial, prosecutor there clearly said it was love, power, money. It was sex, not love, sex, power, and money. That's Chad Daybell and Lori Daybell's story. There's not love there. There's not human empathy there. There's not the greater good. It's all for them. They didn't care about anybody else at that point once they got together. She will try to point out the messages which she thinks show that she had a good attitude to Charles. She did never had a good attitude to Charles, only when she wanted money. She clearly in May went back to Texas after being gone all that time, having her affair with Chad, okay, and trying to punish him by disappearing and making him take care of JJ, which he wanted to do anyway, which he had no problem with, okay. She completely disappeared. Her main goal, in my humble opinion, in May, was to go back to reconcile enough to get Charles to pay her bills, to get a place in Arizona, or, she used JJ to get him back in school in Arizona, away from Charles. Charles still was in Houston. She wanted that distance, but she wanted those bills paid. And she knew Charles would do it. They'd been together a long time. She was still having an affair. Detective, do you find my prints on the gun? Your Honor, there's no proof that I'd done it. Yup, exactly. They don't need it for conspiracy. She's already got 3 life sentences for conspiracy for murder, and there is no evidence she was anywhere near the crime scene or the body. She was the last one with the victims. They can prove that she was there that night that he supposed that JJ disappeared. They can prove that Alex was in the house. They can prove that Lori was in the house. Okay. They can't prove that she buried those bodies. She was in Hawaii. She was not there from the footage that they showed with the covering up of the incident, however the children died. But they did enough to show conspiracy and motive, and she's got life sentences on her for it. So it could easily happen here. She already tried mentioning messages which made her look like a long-suffering wife who just wants things to go back to normal. Yeah, but nope. I don't think that's going to work anymore. Do you, Liam? I don't think this jury's going to buy it. It is very horrific, but it shows how delusional she is. Exactly. She is extremely delusional, and I hope the jury's picking up on that. Yep, she sent nice messages when she wanted something. Exactly. Exactly. In this case, now that the affair is out, knowing that Charles was manipulated in this way, I'm wondering how that very male-dominated jury is thinking. I know she wanted it that way, thinking she could persuade and manipulate because, this is her MO in life. But I don't think it's going to go her way this time. Not with the evidence that the detectives are putting out there. Not with the case that Treena K is laying out. We can see how manipulative she is. I hope she gets a chance to show the jury too. I think they've been seeing little parts of it. And I think when they really sit down and they add things together, why would she lie about what happened from the get-go? That's the biggest piece there. Proving that her story didn't gel is the part where the jury would start to turn. They would start looking at stuff. And they did a good job of proving that what Lori said happened couldn't have happened the way she said. She went so far as to even lie about whether she was wearing shoes. And she just never gave back his phone. I don't even think she realizes how she instigated the whole fight. She's actually telling on herself right there. which is normal for a couple having problems to get into those kind of arguments. Like, that would have been fine. But the way she just kept emphasizing it and just never gave it back to him, even after, voices are raised, Tylee and Alex come out, she still never gave him back the phone. She still insisted on doing, what she was doing. She was like in it. She did not try to de-escalate anything at any point. And I think that's going to stick out to the jury. It was purposeful, at least in my humble opinion, but I know too much. But on that, let's break for lunch, and I'll see you all back here at the next stream. I have it on a redirect, and it is on the channel, and you should get a notification when I go live. Hold on, let me just pull up the link for those of you as a courtesy in the chat. Let me just grab it. The next one. Okay, I have this one setting to go off a little bit before they go live again. Did anybody hear if he said an hour or 90 minutes? Yesterday it was 90 minutes and it really threw me. Did anybody hear? My mind was already on talking to you guys, and I kind of missed that last part that he said. If nobody heard, I can go back. Hello, Victoria. You are Victoria. The fact that she is defending herself would show me that she isn't a team player. Always wants to be in charge and thinks she is always right. Goes against any claims that she was taken by surprise. Yeah, that's really thinking into it. Yep. Okay, that's it. Oh, thank you, Maggie. So that's an hour then, right? So that's the right time then. Because I have us coming back at 4:45. That means they would be back at 4:30, and they're on a 30-minute delay. So I'll be back a few minutes before the feed comes up again, between 4:45 and 5:00, usually. But as long as the dog cooperates, I'll be here by, on time. She's probably managed to gain a following in prison among the other women. Yeah, I think that's why she's taking down all the names, so they can do their castings. She's too much. She's too much. Okay, guys, there's the link. I will see you all shortly in a little bit. Enjoy your stretch and your break. And again, thank you so much for joining and keeping me company and keeping the conversation going. I do enjoy this part of it very, very much. And don't forget to like, share, comment. You come up with questions, go ahead and hit the back of that comment section. I answer everything. There were some excellent notations yesterday and the day before. I was happy to answer questions, and I was definitely really pleased to see some of the opinions coming back and forth in good discussion. So keep it up, guys. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you soon. Shortly.